Okay, hello algebra students. Welcome to Monday morning's lesson. Let's get right into it. So, today's flip grid up there, if you want to participate. Not too many people are participating, and it's more fun the more people that participate. So do that if you can, if you have time. You've already found the YouTube lesson for today. Pause this video, do this problem in your notes, and then unpause it to do it with me. So this is obviously the sum and difference pattern, since I see the exact same thing here, negative y, and 4, but 1 is plus and 1 is minus. So this is obviously the sum and difference pattern. And how the sum and difference pattern works is, to multiply these two things together, all we have to do is take negative y squared, which is positive y squared, and then we'll take 4 squared, which is 16, and then we take y squared minus 16. And that is our final answer. And if you wanted to FOIL that out, we could. Or you can just, if you want to see the foiling out, watch Friday's video. Okay, fantastic. On to what we have for today. Our learning target and success criteria is that you know what polynomials in factored form are, and the success criteria is that you can use the zero product property to solve polynomials in factored form. So, without further ado, let's learn what factored form is. So, this is the first vocab word for today. Pause this video and write that down. A polynomial in factored form is a polynomial written as a product of factors. Now, hopefully, you remember the word factors. Factors is, well, take this for example. 2 times 3 is 6. Yes, true statement. We call 6 the product. That's what happens when you multiply two numbers together. The result is called a product. And the two numbers that you multiplied are called the factors. It is the same thing with polynomials. The final product, the final thing you get after you multiply things together, is the product. And the two things that you multiply together to get that product are called factors. So, when we say factored form, we basically mean it should have parentheses in it. Your terms or your binomials will be inside of parentheses, and you multiply binomials, trinomials, polynomials. Multiplying polynomials together, those are your factors. Okay. We have another important thing to write down. This is the zero product property. And I would encourage you to pause the video, write this down, and then unpause it to hear the explanation. And the explanation is, so what this says in words is, if the product of two real numbers is 0, then at least one of the factors, and in fact let's change this to say factors is 0. And what that looks like algebraically is, if a and b are real numbers and a times b is 0, then a is 0 or b is 0. And to give you an example of that, if I multiply 5 times 0, I get 0. If I multiply 3 times 0, I get 0. The only way to multiply two numbers together and have it equal 0 is if one of these numbers are 0. And that's what they're saying here, is if I'm multiplying a times b and I get 0, either a is 0 or b is 0. One of them has to be 0, because, I mean, if I change this to 1, I'm just going to get 5. Even if I change this to something really small, like 0.01, I'm just going to get 0.03. No matter how small you make a number, you can never get 0 unless one of the numbers is 0. So, this is the takeaway. Okay, so now that you know what these things are, let's use them in an example. So our first example is using the zero product property to solve equations. So, what we have here is we have 2x times x minus 4 equals 0. Well, our zero product property tells us that one of these things has to be 0. So either 2x is equal to 0, or x minus 4 is equal to 0. Or x minus 4 is equal to 0. One of those things has to be true. At least one of those things has to be true. Okay, so now I need to solve this equation. It says to solve up here, which means I need x by itself. And now, well, hey, if we look at these equations, we know how to get x by itself. Here, I'm just going to divide by 2 on both sides. 0 divided by 2 is 0. Awesome. And here, I just need to add 4 on both sides. And x equals 4. Ta-da! There you go. You have solved the equation. So, if you're confused, don't worry, we have another example right over there. If you think you know what's going on, I'd encourage you to pause the video and try B on your own, and then unpause it, and let's do it together. So, remember the zero product property tells me that this is 0 or this is 0. So, I get x minus 3 equals 0 or x minus 9 equals 0. And now we just solve for x. So I'm going to add 3 to both sides. Ta-da! X is by itself. And now I'm going to add 9 to both sides. That goes away. And x equals, I think you see a pattern, or hopefully you see a pattern. If you don't see the pattern, I'll point it out to you now, is that whenever I have a different color, whenever I have x minus 3, x is 3. And when I have x minus 9, x is 9. If we had plus here, if this had been x plus 9, then x would be negative 9. So you can write it all out like this, or you can think in your head, what, if I just look at this, what would x need to be in order for this to be 0? In order for this to be 0, 3 minus 3 is 0. So x needs to be 3. The end. So you can do it in your head, or you can do it, you can do all of the algebra out like this. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. If I want to see your work, I will explicitly tell you on a test, show all of your work for full credit. All right. Wonderful. Moving on. Oh, and look at that. We can see we got our answers right. Fantastic. Fantastic. Okay. Another example for today. It is very similar to the first one, but a little bit different. So I want to make sure that you watch this one too. So we're still going to use the zero product property, just like it says up at the top. But now, it's a little bit different than before. So here, zero product property, I still have 2x plus 7 equals 0, or I have 2x minus 7 equals 0. So both of these things are still true. But now I'm just going to solve for x again. So I'll subtract 7 and they go away. 2x equals negative 7. And now, to get x by itself, I just need to divide by 2. I'm going to be in the way here in a second. Those go away, and now I get x is negative 7 over 2. Let's see, if we put that in our calculator, this is also negative 3.5. So you can do it whichever way you want, fractions or decimals. I don't mind. Okay. Same thing over here. So the only difference between this one and our last example was this is a fraction. Woo! You can get fractions. You can get decimals. It is perfectly okay. Don't be scared of the fractions or decimals. It'll be okay. Alright, same thing over here. I'm gonna add 7 to both sides. 2x equals 7. Divide by 2 on both sides. And you can say x is equal to 7/2, x is equal to 3.5. I don't mind if you leave it as a fraction or a decimal. If a test were to say, leave your answers in fraction form, then do that. But if they don't specify, do whatever you want. Okay. Alright, perfect. So that is A. We can have fractions and decimals, and it's okay. Let's move on to B. So here, we'll separate like this, and in fact, let's even change colors so we're not confused. Okay, so here, I only have one factor. It just happens to be there 2 times. I'm going to say that again. We only have one factor. It's just there 2 times. It's like when we have 3 times 3 equals 9. There's only one factor there. It's 3. But we have it twice. 3 times 3. And remember, we can also call this 3 squared. So you don't have to worry about doing anything twice. All you have to do is, we know that x minus 1 has to be 0. Because one of our factors has to be 0, and this is just the same factor 2 times. So this has to be 0. Let's solve for x. We just add 1 to both sides, and look at that. X equals 1. The only thing different here is that this is what we call a repeated root, or a repeated factor. So we say that x equals 1, and this has order 2. So this is this root has order 2 because there's 2 of them. Just like we said here, there's 2 of the same factor. So, yes, so x equals 1, and you just want to make sure to say order 2 down there at the bottom. Fantastic. Okay, our last example is very similar, just a little bit different. So in the other examples, we had 2 factors. Like here we had 2 factors. Here we had 2 factors. But here I have 1, 2, 3 factors. Oh no, does that drastically change the problem and I'm going to have to learn something completely new? No. No. Zero product property also works for 3 terms, because remember, if you're multiplying things together and it equals 0, one of those things that you multiplied has to be 0. If you do 1 times 3 times 1, it's still 3. If you do 1 times 2 times 3, it's still 6. So, we can do the exact same thing we've been doing, we just have to do it with all 3 factors. So we're going to have x plus 1 equals 0, or x minus 3 equals 0, or x minus 2 equals 0. It's a little cramped, but that's okay. So to solve this first one, just minus 1 on both sides, and x is equal to -1. Oops, that's a 0. To solve this second one, x minus 3 equals 0, I just need to add 3 to both sides. So x is 3. And this last one, I just need to add 2 to both sides. That is messy. That is messy. Let's put it down here so we can see. X minus 2 equals 0. There we go. Add 2 on both sides. And x equals 2. And there you go. So that's all today really is set each of your factors equal to 0, and there are your solutions. X could be -1, it could be 3, could be 2. All of them are going to make this equation equal to 0. All right, fantastic. And look at that. You can see that we got it all right. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Questions. Remember that if you have questions, I live stream every day, every weekday from noon to 2 p.m. While we are closed. When, yeah, if you're watching this a year from now, hopefully we're back in school. So I will not be live streaming then. But for now, live stream every weekday, Monday through Friday, from noon to 2 p.m. If you have questions, please tune in and ask me questions, or just tune in and hang out. Today, I don't know what we're doing. I don't know what we'll do yet, but on Friday we did some doodling, and then we played some Minecraft, so I don't know. Today, maybe we'll dance, maybe we'll play the piano, I don't know. You'll have to see. You'll have to tune into the live stream and see what's going on. But yeah, even if I'm dancing, you can interrupt to ask questions. So the point of all that was to say, if you have questions, join the live stream. And even if you don't have questions, join the live stream to hang out. If you want to. Alrighty. The classwork for today, homework, classwork, whatever you want to call it. Technically homework, since we're all home now. But yes, these are all the questions I'd like you to try. The first few are just like example 1, and the last 4 are like example 2. If you have questions, you know where to go. The live stream. Alright, and your launch for today. As you grow older, you will discover that you have 2 hands. One for helping yourself, and the other for helping others. So, that might sound a little selfish. 1 hand for helping yourself? What? But you do need to help yourself. You do need to take care of yourself. So, 1 hand is to take care of yourself, because if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of others. You have to be whole and healthy in order to take care of others. So, 1 hand for helping yourself, but the other hand is for helping others. You don't want to have all your hands for yourself, because then that is maybe a little bit selfish. You want to have a hand for helping others, a hand for doing some good in the world, for making your life matter. What are you doing that makes a difference in the world? So, have a hand to help others, and especially during this time, during this crazy, crazy time of fear and uncertainty and all the feelings that people might be feeling, now is a better time than ever to make sure that we're helping each other, while still social distancing. But social distancing is helping one another. Yes. So, help yourself, help others, and yeah, I care about you. I hope you're doing well. Make sure that you have checked. There is a new assignment in Google Classroom. If you do not tell me what your plan is and let me know that you're alive and okay, I will call your house and I will call your parents. So, yes. Make sure that you answer that question. And thanks for sticking to the end of the video. Have a great day, and maybe I'll see you on the live stream. Bye.